Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and I know it's been a while since we did an Epstein update. And there's just been so much going on in that case, from the judges denying the victims the ability to gain monetary compensation from the original Palm Beach case to new cases to interviews with the media to lawsuits, Ponzi schemes, Steve Hoffenberg, and also this revelation from the Hollywood Reporter with Brock Pierce, kind of this cryptocurrency guru, if you will, former child actor, somebody who had been abused, and his story was told in an open secret, one of the best, if not the best, documentary out there on child sex abuse and Hollywood. And it also brings in Steve Bannon to the mix. And we're going to go over all this stuff, the new media interviews, why they're important, what we should be focusing on, the fact that we're still waiting to hear on these 10,000 new pages that should be dumped in the case of Virginia Giuffre-Roberts, the young girl behind me, the woman actually holding it up now, and Ghislaine Maxwell, who we don't know where she is. We don't know where Les Wexner is. We don't know where Jean-Luc Brunel is. We're not sure what employees were working with New York State and the federal government in that initial indictment. We only know employee 1, 2, and 3, yet we have calls for Leslie Groff, Sarah Kalin, Nadia Marcinkova, and Natalia Malyshev, and others to not only be under investigation, but to be arrested. So, let's go to some of the media sensationalism, but why this is important, because we're now putting faces in NBC News in groups on this. Now, the headline reads that, again, Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew, Virginia Giuffre-Roberts, now a lot more people are seeing these things in depth. But again, if you've been paying attention, these type of allegations have been going on for some time. And she's been the most vocal, and honestly, although, there are some dubious aspects, let's say, about Alan Dershowitz and selling her original story to the Daily Mail, a lot of it is checked out, period. Okay? So, obviously, this picture's real. We've done that. We brought it into Photoshop. We've showed you that. But what's more important to me is now you're seeing more of the victims come out. And this is an NBC News exclusive. They're far from perfect. But in a lot of cases, you're seeing very similar. Obviously, these women are attractive, but you're seeing a lot of the same features. Not everybody's blonde, but, take a look. The majority of them are. And even Nadia Marcinkova, who will become one of his procurers, who will become one of his pilots, in these documents, these women, at least some of them, have alleged that he bragged about buying her as a sex slave in Yugoslavia. These markets exist. So in that regard, the Today Show, NBC Nightly News, it's going to be a while for them to dump all of this stuff, and obviously we're still only going to see edited bits and pieces, but it needs to be out there, okay? And what I want to see is more of a focus on the Bill Richardsons of the world, the Glenn Dubins of the world, the George Mitchells of the world. They've been almost completely forgotten about and ignored, which was really the main part of that dump. You see that? Selective outrage, manufactured outrage. We decided to see what politicians or political figures or famous people we're going to put in the crosshairs, and then who we're going to let slide. Shane Gillis gets fired from his dream job. We'll focus on that in the media for a few days. But let's not focus on an alleged pedophile who was the governor of New Mexico, where Zorro Ranch was at the time, who has all sorts of Clinton and Genie Energy connections. And globalist connections as well. Council on Foreign Relations, etc. Let's not focus on that. Okay? So now I want to start getting into what really does need to be focused on. And this one here, this $500 million Ponzi scheme, I covered this with We Are Change. If you go to this article, what I like, again, you can say what you want about the Daily Mail, but at least they're giving you a link to the scribed entire 26-page case. This came out in late August, by the way. And you're not seeing a lot of this. So let me get you familiar with this. Steve Hoffenberg is the largest super PAC donor to the Trump campaign back when he was running in 2016. He's also the man, Hoffenberg, he's also the man that partnered with Epstein okay? It says 97 there, in the late 90s, right? And in this Ponzi scheme, Hoffenberg is Tower Capitals International, all right? Towers Financial Corporation. So during this thing, he gets convicted. He does jail time. But it's so bizarre because the board, when he gets out, right, rehires him. Now, was this a Ponzi scheme? Without a doubt. Was Epstein protected in the beginning of this because of his not only connections in the business world, not only his blackmail out there, but possible intelligence connections? That, to me, is a very real possibility. Let's make sure one of them goes to jail, so there's a little bit of a show, but maybe they got the wrong guy. And I think that's a big, big potential. And you notice the media is not focusing on this. And this is a huge Trump connection. Let me repeat that. This is a huge Trump-Epstein connection that the media is not talking about. What does that tell you? That tells you should be looking at it. And here's another one that is Trump-esque that the media doesn't want to focus on. And you might want to ask yourself why that is. You notice, for instance, the Daily Beast is focusing on Steve Mnuchin's mysterious look into creepy Epstein model scout. So again, he working with Jean-Luc Brunel, Steve Mnuchin. There's a real link there. How far that goes outside of the business world, I don't know. Remember, Epstein is linked to a lot of these people after it's made clear that he is absolutely a serial pedophile and predator of children. Okay, very clear. We've already covered the Gates thing. Remember, the media is not focusing on the Gates thing much. Not focusing on George Stephanopoulos after the fact, going to that dinner party. I reported that well before Epstein was arrested. Soledad O'Brien had tweeted it out, and I mentioned how that tweet got crickets. Okay, so this stuff has been known, right? But this article here, I'm sorry, this is one I wanted to get to. This is the Hollywood Reporter, that involves Brock Pierce, and Brock Pierce kind of teaming up with Steve Bannon for 7 years. He says he's his right-hand man for 7 years in this. They focus on this connection between Pierce, Epstein, dinners, meetings, NASA computer engineers. Remember, Epstein put himself in that spot, right? But what they're not focusing on with Bannon is how he was meeting with Epstein right before the the midterm elections. Does that concern anybody else? And so where this came from, this is page 6, right? Gossip rag. Mike Cernovich, in an interview with We Are Change, said that the information came from Roger Stone. And he then said he wasn't sure, and I'm quoting him, if this was just rat fucking going on, et cetera, et cetera. But no, it was Bannon trying to get money and favor with Epstein on behalf of the Republicans in the midterms. What else could it have been, right? So Cernovich, coincidentally, when he was asked that question, he wasn't ready for it. He said, well, I like both Roger and Steve, but I'd have a pretty stern talking to with Steve if that were the case. 2 days later, Cernovich had Bannon on for an hour on his program, and it was never mentioned once. Epstein was never brought up. Everything I'm telling you is documented and true. So you have to ask yourself, why isn't the media, who has painted Bannon as a ghoul, focusing on the fact that, yeah, he was meeting with him just, less than a year ago. I mean, I guess it's over a year ago now. Let's say less than a year before the arrest. That'd be some pretty interesting stuff, right? And then finally, the final update here, although, again, there's so much going on with the case, guys. I mean, we could sit here and bend into these forever, but to me, a lot of it is fluff. And that's not to say that we shouldn't be focusing on the victims, but we have to be focusing in on the arrests of this network. And we have to stop. It doesn't stop with Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell has to be arrested. So as I said, the Epstein accusers were denied money damages in the Florida case by the judge. And now there is a new lawsuit, especially from Victim 1. And Victim 1, again, naming Sarah Kellen, naming Leslie Groff, people that have kind of skated by in the public eye, people that most are not aware of. And that's why, guys, I need you guys to share this information with others. Okay, thumbs this video up. We're doing 3 to 7 of them a day. Share it on social media, on Reddit, whatever the kids are doing these days. Make sure you subscribe to the Burmese Brigade if you're already not, because this channel is not about left or right. I'm sure I'm going to piss you off at some point when I take on your favorite political hero, but we call it like it is. When somebody does a good thing, we say it's good. When they do a bad thing, we say it's bad. We don't color code it red or blue, liberal or conservative. That's Johnny nonsense. We're here to tell you the truth. And hopefully you're enjoying the channel. Like I said, subscribe, ring that bell, and if you can, the GoFundMe is what I got. I'm going to let this one run until the end of the month. So for an extra week and a half than I normally have, because we didn't hit that $5,000 marker, that's fine. Plus, I'm going to be away this weekend over at a wedding, so it's going to be mostly walk and talks and quick check-ins while I'm in Long Island. So $5, $10, $15, all of it helps, guys. Anything out there helps. That's how we're doing this 7 days a week on subjects that matter. No Patreon, no Subscribe Star, just nothing but love in my heart for you. And I'll see you on the flip.